I want to now move on and welcome Sister Nia to X to our Win TV program. Sister Nia, how are you?
I am faithful and grateful to be here on Win TV for sure. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great. I
Good.
heard you the other morning on WPFW. You did an interview with one of our who organized actually the Million Man March. And I'm drawing a blank, but it'll come back to me in a minute.
Oh, our dear sister, Dr. Ife. I don't have
Thank
to
you.
say
Thank
anything
you.
else.
Thank you. I needed your help on that
No
because
problem. No problem.
we all know attorney Ife Williams
Yes.
and the great work she did with the Million Man March, and also
Yes.
just the great interview that you did with her. And thought
Thank
it was
you.
important to remind our viewers that the March on Washington is coming to Washington, D.C. And, the role you're playing to make sure that this is a successful march for the vote.
Yes, well, again, thank you, Sister Denise Rolark Bonds, for reaching out. And you're so correct about this particular march coming up. And I was just reminded in about a week, Saturday, August 28th, 58 years from the 1963 march that was given. A lot of people pay attention to that march because they know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and one of his many, many, many successful speeches, but that one stands out a lot, the one that states, I have a dream. Well, on Saturday, August 28th, 2021, this particular march is titled March On for Voting Rights, sponsored by the National Action Network and by Drum Majors for Justice. And of course, we know the National Action Network is headed by the Honorable Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and Drum Majors for Justice is headed by Martin Luther King and his wife, Martin Luther King III, and his wife and family. So they're sponsors of the march being held around the country, not just Washington, D.C., but Washington, D.C. is the main focus. Of course, those two or three rather will be here, but the march is also being held in Phoenix, Arizona, Houston, Texas, Georgia. I want to say Florida, but I'm not. I know those three cities are going to have the march. You can look online to be more accurate with that particular last city, Florida. I'm
And
not sure.
give us that website, Sister Nia. Where can people get information about the march?
I'm going to give you a website and two telephone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Please go to and register. That's very important to register for the march. It's free at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And you can call toll free 1-877 626 4651. Here in the DMV, you can call our local chapter at 202 819 7134.
Okay. All right. We're going to put that up on the screen as soon as we get. Yeah, we're going to put that up on the screen in a little bit, but we'll keep talking and get that up. Right. So the march this year is focused on voting rights. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, it is focused on what people are talking about around the country, the suppression and the oppression of voting rights, in particular for people of color, Black and brown. And the voting rights are literally at stake. This march is to go out in numbers, in unity, to show the opposition how citizens, Black, white, people of goodwill, oppose the suppression and oppression where laws have been enacted and many laws are on the books to be enacted to further the not hidden agenda of oppressing the voting rights of citizens, tax-paying citizens here in this country. This is a very serious and critical time to come out in numbers, because those that are enacting those laws will visualize the numbers of citizens and people concerned everywhere that strongly oppose the agenda that is being laid out to suppress and oppress voters through very different manipulations, if you will, and they're just arcade and abusive, to say the least.
It's when we think about what happened on Capitol Hill in front of the Library of Congress yesterday, and I don't want to give steam to that event, but the point is, folks are still angry about the turnout of the last election. And it seems as though there is a movement to make sure that their voices are heard as well, that they feel as though the election was stolen from the person that they supported. And I'm wondering, if there's been conversation on how you all are going to use volunteers this year to make sure that this march is safe.
Well, a lot of that I wouldn't even be able to say on the air because of security issues. But there has been discussion, serious discussion, that again, I wouldn't lay out for the public, because there's always a present danger in any march, and in the Civil Rights March, in the Black Power movement. There's always a degree. It just takes one individual to make such an egregious, foul move. But we're going with God. We're staying with Him. He's leading us. And we are certainly holistically looking at all aspects, especially during COVID, making sure that people are equipped with masks. If they don't have one, they should bring an extra one, just in case that strap breaks. It happens from time to time. Um, Things like that. It's going to be very, very difficult to do the safe distancing. That has to be done on an individual basis. Everyone has heard what happens when we do social distance. But if I'm looking at the last March, most of us individually did not enforce that. So, as an individual, I'm asking, requesting, do our best to remember, yes, COVID is out there. Wear our mask. If you can, have gloves, hand sanitizers may be provided. Call that number, 1-877-626-4651, to make sure that's an accurate fact. But we're looking at that particular danger as well when it comes to the march. Go in prayer, go in faith, be on security yourself. If you see something, say something. Don't hesitate to report anything that you deem to be suspicious, out of character. Stand up, speak up, and keep our focus on the voting rights and winning the fight and the struggle that we've been in for so long.
Last year, I actually have had the pleasure of participating in every march on Washington, with the exception of the first one. A lot of us were a lot younger then, and folks left us at home, and they went to march. Our parents did, and came back and told us about it, or we read about it, which was really good. But of the others, and then last year's, which the turnout was tremendous. But we do come in peace, but the turnout was tremendous. And I think what provoked that was the election, and people understanding then at that time the importance of the vote. And here we are now. We're not necessarily in an election season, although some states are gearing up, Virginia and Maryland. But I think you've expressed it. But what makes this particular August, this particular March, a reason for folks to come out?
Great question. And that answer would be the passage of the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, as well as passing the John Lewis bill. Those two bills have already passed in the House. They passed in the last administration, but we need the Senate, and we are demanding with our presence because the importance of those two bills protecting the rights of citizens for policing and of course our voting rights is really the main issue, but it's those two bills. We are at a point in our struggle as a people, as a country, that we have an opportunity to get those bills passed and signed with this present administration. Right now, the administration, uh, the Democrats are dominant in the House, the White House, and the Senate. So we need to take advantage of that, mobilize each other, educate each other. The march will educate, as the Honorable Reverend Sharpton does every day on his radio platform and each weekend on MSNBC, his television platform, for people to get accurate information. If you really want to know and be an educated consumer and understand the facts, it's not about just watching the Honorable Reverend Sharpton on the weekends. It's the guest that he brings. He brings Congress people. He brings people such as lawmakers and people that are actually in power that do make decisions, so that watching those shows and listening to him on Radio 1 around the country from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. daily, Eastern Standard Time, you and I are privileged to hear enormous amounts of information that answer questions that many people validly ask. And that's what he does. He's exposing the information.
So let me ask you, so give us the logistics. The march is going to start at what time, what location? Is it a march? Is it a gathering at the Lincoln Memorial? What are the logistics for the day?
The march begins. People are gathering around 8 a.m. August 28th at McPherson Square Park. That's located at 15th and I Streets Northwest in Washington, D.C. You'll hear speeches and information. And then, as the march begins, they'll march past the Black Lives Matter Plaza and then past the White House. The march will close or rally again, more speeches with the backdrop of the National Mall at 12th and Madison Drive. Um, and people will be gathered there from 7th Street to 14th Street. Again, that's between Jefferson Drive and Madison Drive. If you go online at www.National Action Network, you'll see a map, you'll see more information. And then you have the telephone number to be sure, because some people can't march. Some people may end up at the second gathering. So you want to be accurate in your information. There'll be displays of course, first aid, water will be passed out, and you just get a lot of more information. Sometimes things change, but this close in the game, you'll get accurate information, because we know the Honorable Reverend Sharpton is no rookie to marching and laying out the logistics. And of course, our great friend Ebony Riley, the director of the Washington Bureau, who basically handles all of the logistics and information concerning the congressional level of not only the marches, but of the congressional and legislative measures and information that takes place. Her number, the office is.
Well, we'll just leave. We'll keep the number up that you've given, and the local number. Let's get the local number for the march. This the 202.
The local number for the chapter is 202-819-7134 or 202-293-32 832.
Okay, we're going to post both of those. We're about out of time, but I want to thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here and sharing this information with us. But before I go, I always have that "but before I go" question. And I've known you we've known each other, let's say that, for many years, and you've been involved in a lot of different movements. You have your own broadcast program yourself, which I'd like for you to share if you're still doing that. And I just want to know, what drives you, what keeps you motivated to stay involved in the movement, Sister Nia? You've been out here for a while, and I'm always glad to see that your fingers are in things that make a difference for the Black community. So tell us, one, about the program, and two, just that spiritual thing that keeps you going.
Honestly, the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his national spokesman, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is my drive, is my inspiration. I give all praises to Allah for those teachings that I continue to learn. I'm not even scratching the surface of having learned. I'm constantly learning, and I'll be learning until my last breath. But it's those teachings and the great work that is constantly unfolding with the mighty nation of Islam. That is a true statement. Yes, we do have our broadcast, and believe it or not, I have to say thank you to the Washington Informer newspaper, because we've been advertising with you for years. And every time we put an ad in your paper, we get the results that we are looking for. So it's a collaboration of many people that that I know over the years, that have all committed ourselves to do this work and to give all the glory to God in any religious persuasion that we choose. I just happen to embrace the nation. I am not an active member at this time, but inshallah, God willing, after the mosque reopens, Allah knows my heart, I plan to come back and to become a full-fledged active member in the mighty nation of Islam.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. And I'll see you on Saturday, August, what is that, the 28th?
Yes. I'll find you in around 1 million people. I'll find you.
Right.
I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you.
All right. Thanks so much, Sister Nia. And you have a great
you.
day. And don't work too hard, even though you got a lot of work to do.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Keep up the great work with WIN TV.
Thank you so much.